Hey everybody, it's Dan from dansfish.com, your friendly fishmonger, and today I have what I think is a very special treat for everybody. It's an interview and a Fishroom tour with Chase Kleinstecker. Chase is an amazing master breeder, and he's not a master breeder just because we started calling him that and the name stuck. The American Federation of Aquarium Societies has named him a master breeder and given him the Breeder of the Year award. The guy has bred over 500 species of fish, and by the way, when we say bred, it doesn't mean just bred, it means bred and raised and returned babies to his local club. And he's been breeding fish for a long time. He knows what he's doing. And so this is a chance for people that are interested in learning to breed Tetras and Barbs and Danios and other egg scatterers to really hear from an expert who has bred many, many species of these fish. They're often a bit, I don't want to say difficult, but they're a challenge for a lot of people because the eggs, getting them to hatch is a trick, and Chase will tell you how to do that. Getting the fry to raise is a trick because they're so small at first, and he has a method to do that. So we're going to jump in and learn from him. But before we do, let's take a moment. He's generously compiling all his information on how to breed fish on a website. So here's the website. If you get a moment, go check it out. It's going to be worth your time. You'll learn a lot if you're a fish geek who wants to know how to breed fish. So yeah, with that, let's take a few minutes and just be sponges and soak up all this knowledge from Chase Kleinstecker, and yeah, enjoy. I think this is a really cool video. The Federation of American Aquarium Societies Breeders' Award Program. Right on.
79 species in 1 year.
Cool.
About died. I mean, it
and
was
Breeder of the Year award.
Oh man.
Right on. What do you find to be the secret to breeding tetras?
I use peat moss box filters and soft water. I collect rainwater. This is rainwater down here, and that's fresh regular water.
Oh, okay. So this is a reservoir drain water.
So then I take a pump, a little submersible. I stick it down in there, and then I go and fill these. Now I'm not into my breeding mode right now. There's some Danio tin minis in here. I'm trying to.
Oh
get
yeah,
to breed.
fun. Yeah.
And,
so when you do breed, you generally put them in these smaller containers for it.
This is some Rambo Barbs here.
Cool.
But I can show you how I said they aren't always breeding, and when I change water, I take just a siphon on a stick, and if I want to find out if they laid eggs, you can't see the eggs are so small. Right. You just put the siphon down in there, and you get a siphon, and you go in just a little bit around in that gravel. This is large gravel. So
that's the pea gravel that will trap the eggs and hide it from the parents?
Yeah, a little bigger than a pea gravel. But then I take, this is, now this, this is the
so you can backlight it, yeah.
I can backlight it. Now that's just crap in there.
Nothing today.
I don't see anything today, but what I'll do now, I know that that needs to be cleaned, so I'll take a siphon, take out about half or 3/4 of that water, put in fresh. This is in tap water for the Danio. If I don't succeed in that, maybe I'll try putting some rainwater in there. Danios sometimes like a little soft water, so maybe some of those Danios. But now the Rambo Barb, that needs rainwater. These are some Celestial Pearl Danios. Oh yeah, cool. That's one of my favorites.
CPDs.
I do quite a few of those.
I call them pretty hate machines.
They're a challenge.
Those in Dario, they're the pretty hate machines.
I don't know. They're really spotty as far as breeding now. The CPDs, I use them in regular tap water.
So you just siphon it out with a little airline hose? And
I have a little larger one when I want to siphon more out. The airline hose, just to find out if I have any eggs on those, and then I'll put them over here. No, there's no eggs on there. I haven't really spent a lot of time now when I'm breeding different fish. I may have 10 or 15 pairs or groups of fish set up. I do the emperors this way. I do a lot of them that way.
In just like 1 or 2 gallon containers.
Yeah. Sometimes even a 1 gallon, but mostly it's 2, 2.5.
Are there any tricks for getting larger spawns? Do you ever separate sexes and condition females and stuff, or do you just keep them healthy and when you want to spawn them, throw them in?
Usually I do. I start with that, and then if I don't have success, then I'll separate them and condition them separately, or I'll keep them. Now sometimes I'll put the male in one tank and the female in another tank, and that's one way of doing it. And like with the barbs, I find with the big barbs, the Dawkinsia rohani, the imperial barb, I added, the males aren't that aggressive. They aren't really going to tear up the female that bad. And I couldn't get them to spawn, so I put 2 males in, and then they spawn.
Little competition.
And I tried something a little different, using some mops. And Ted's Fishroom had a nice video on the rohani.
Yeah, I saw that. He had them in a large tank, and he put the mops in a little container in there.
Just in one area.
Yeah, and then he just took out the container.
I followed that, and they did it.
Yeah.
I got some. In fact, these are the fry down here. I got.
Oh, you have rohani fry?
Yeah, those are.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
And here's some over here.
Dawkinsia rohani fry, the little striped guys?
Yeah, they don't look like the parents.
Oh, I'm geeking out right now. That is awesome. That is awesome. So here's where I think most people go wrong with characins and cyprinids and stuff, is that I think a lot of people can usually get eggs from a lot of them. How do you raise those tiny, tiny, tiny little fry? What do you feed them?
That's a good question. And feeding, first of all, is getting them to hatch. And I always use rainwater.
Oh yeah, let's start there.
I always use rainwater on my barbs and my tetras. That seems to do much better. Most tetras really need the rainwater.
It's 100% rainwater?
100%.
So the hardness is an issue?
Yes, for the tetras and the saltwater species, definitely. But even for the barbs, I find I get a little better hatch in the rainwater. And it doesn't bother me to switch them from rain to hard without, I haven't noticed anything different.
Right.
What I do is I put in one of these containers, and I'll siphon the eggs out of the small breeding tank. You can't hatch them in a 2-gallon jar and expect them to all to survive.
Right.
Pollution from the sperm and from the eggs and dying eggs is going to be bad.
Fish sex soup is what I call it.
Yeah. You take the eggs out, you siphon them out with a siphon, put them in a pan where you can look at the eggs, and you swirl it around, and the eggs will go in the center. Then you just take either a baster or an eyedropper, pick the eggs up, and I hatch them in these containers here.
Oh, okay.
These are very expensive.
Yes.
But I'll put in about a gallon of rainwater, and then 2 or 3 drops of methylene blue, 5% methylene blue.
Okay. And that's the hatch solution, rainwater and methylene blue.
Yeah, and then I put a bubbler in them. That's a little bubbler with a weight on it, and the bubbler is basically to keep the air, keep it going. In other words,
some flow so it doesn't stagnate. Yeah.
And even sometimes in some eggs now, Tetra eggs will hatch in 24 hours, most of them. So then I'm doing a water change right then. But if there's like Danios eggs will take 3 or 4 days. I may change the water once because some of the eggs are dead, and then if I got a couple hundred eggs in a little gallon jar, I've got to have that water clean. So I'll swirl them. I'll siphon them out, swirl them around. The dead eggs will not be in the center. You need to take them out, separate them, and the same with the fry. You can swirl the fry around too. They don't bother them.
So the good eggs clump in the center because they're heavier.
Right, they're heavier.
Yeah. And do the bad eggs soak up the methylene blue so you can see them better, or?
Kind of, but what they do is the bad eggs will not be as dense, and so they'll be around
on the outside.
On the outside, and
oh,
swirl.
Cool.
Then when they hatch, I'll always do a water change. I'll suck the fry up, clean it off, put them in fresh rainwater, and then I'll wait for 5 days because most of them don't get free swimming for about 5 days. And then
so you're just keeping them clean at that point.
That's the very, very important. You don't want to try to feed them until they actually are free swimming and looking for food. Now, a lot of your tetras and many of your barbs, the fry are so small that they will not take newly hatched baby brine.
Yeah, and that's where we run into trouble. I feel like
the rohani, they're about 4 or 5 inch fish. the little tiny fry won't take.
Yeah, little slivers of glass,
now,
right?
Yeah, there's a difference there because sometimes the fry, you can get a few of them to take, and a lot of people don't. I like to get numbers of fish. I want them to be productive. Some people will say, well, this fish, their fry will take baby brine right away. Well, it may be that there's some bigger fry, and maybe a third or a quarter of the eggs of the fry there are going to be big enough to take baby brine, but they'll all die, the ones that won't. But if I feed them a little bit of fine food, suspended, first, then the rest of them will also grow up, and I'll have a better number of.
So what is this food of which you speak? What do you use? Is it a powdered food, or infusoria, or rotifers? Or?
I like golden pearls.
Oh yeah, me too.
And,
me too. Like the 5 to 50 microns.
Yeah. And there's the Wardley's makes fry food, a suspended fry food, but I make my own sometimes.
Oh yeah.
And I take flake food with maybe 50% spirulina and other mixed flake. I'll put it in a mortar and pestle and grind it up really, really fine. And then I'll put it in a tube. I've got a tube up here that I'm not sure where it is, but anyway, I put it in a little glass tube. Maybe it's that big. And
like you'd use to test your water?
Yeah.
Type thing, like a pH test kit tube?
Maybe you could put something in something like this.
Okay, yeah.
And put the suspended material, or put the ground up really fine. Then I put the top on it and shake it, and then I'll let it settle, and you'll still have particles that will settle down. And let it settle down. Then you pour off that the liquid which contains the tiny, you can't even see it.
The stuff that stays suspended is what you want. So the stuff on the bottom you don't take out. You pour off.
I feed it to my other fish.
Yeah, yeah. You pour off the the cloudy stuff.
Yeah, the cloudy stuff. And then I'll take that suspended food, freshly mixed, and I'll put some in each tank where the fry are.
All right. So live food's not necessary for starting the fry if you do it this way, or do you do a mix? Or?
It may depend on the species. I'm not sure. But in my estimate, with the tetras and things like that, keep it suspended, keep some water circulating. I don't feed them in these gallon jugs right away. Actually, what I like to do, if I have a number of eggs, I'll put them in either a 2.5 or even a 20 with some plants in it and some maybe snails and stuff. And then I'll take that and I'll start feeding in the tank there. And usually that works out pretty good. When I start feeding baby brine, then you can see their bellies, and they'll be swollen, a little pink belly. And
is that usually
2 or 3 days?
Is that how long before you start them on brine? I know it depends on the species, but is it typically a couple days, typically a week, or is there no typically?
Not typically. Some of your tetras will start in a day or 2 or 3 days. Barbs might be 3 or 4 days in general. Your rainbows, it'll take a week or more.
Yeah, rainbows are the worst.
And
I love rainbows, but trying to grow those suckers up, man.
White clouds are very tiny fry. And so, yeah, what I do is I test it. I'm feeding it the suspended food, and I'll also put some of that food on the surface, depending on the species. Your rainbows are going to take it off the surface. Your tetras are going to need to get it suspended. And the barbs probably suspended are on the bottom. And then you could try, I use microworms too, and you could try that. But the most important is to make sure that they can have enough nutrition to kind of get into size enough to eat the baby brine. Then we're fine. Yeah,
after baby brine, it's all gravy. So the process, as I understand it, is you take a pair, or sometimes 2 males and a female or so. Is that about the number?
2 pairs,
couple pairs.
Small fish.
Put them in these small containers, a gallon, 2 gallons, something like that. 2 or 3. There's this large, it's not pea gravel, this large gravel and marbles and stuff in the bottom to collect the eggs, right?
Right.
And then when you want eggs, you'll siphon that out into a container. You'll swirl it.
Swirl it.
The good eggs will clump in the middle. you'll take those, put them in these
in
with a couple drops of methylene blue.
Yeah.
Right? An air stone, not vigorous. This isn't vigorous. This is just keeping things from getting stagnant. Right. Okay. So you'll put them in there with methylene blue until they hatch.
Right. This is nice because if I want to see a fish, I can just put the light underneath it.
Oh yeah, there you go. What's in there now?
These are some Cracodon audex.
Oh, nice.
And I've got some of those going. These are some of the fry.
Yeah, some live goodies.
So, but anyway, the nice thing about these is, and all these tanks, you know, if I say I want to take a look at these fish here, because they like dark. A lot of fish like dark to spawn.
Oh, actually, I should ask that. So is that important too, to not have them lit?
But see, notice I've got.
So these are Rombo Barbs.
You can't take a 5-gallon and move it like that. Well, I can look at the Rombo Barbs. I got 3 in there, and I think that's a female. And there's one that has a little bit of red on the anal fin, and that was a male. I'm not sure about the other one. But now, when I go in here, and I don't think I just tested those. Did I test?
No, we didn't do that.
I didn't go in that one. But actually, when I'm breeding, I have a number of breeders going. I'll do this every day because you never know when they're going to breed. But I just go around here with this airline tube, and if they laid eggs, then I'll find out. And this is they like the soft water, that's rainwater, and then I have a peat moss filter.
Oh yeah. So this is a little box filter. We've got some large gravel on top, and then some peat moss sandwiched between some polyfill. Yeah. To keep it from getting messy.
Right. Cool. Right, so it doesn't get all over the tank. Nope, I haven't changed water. Usually the water changes, and I try to do a water change when there's a weather change. Oh, right. Because when nasty weather's coming in, the barometer goes down, and that seems to help some species.
So you wait for a storm front.
Yeah, sometimes I will, if I have time.
Yeah, so that's nice. You can just grab the thing, move it where you want it.
You know, when you're breeding fish, you've got to clean the tank out real well. I'm going to connect the air here a little bit. You know, I can take this over to the sink. Yeah. I clean it out, and, you know. Yeah. You can't do that with a 10-gallon tank.
And this isn't like bioactive filtration, right? There's no bacteria colony in there or anything.
It'll form on, the peat moss and the floss will form some kind of bio.
Okay, so these are set up long enough that you actually do that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Reuse them. I can put them in another.
Are you feeding in there and everything?
I do.
Oh, okay.
And then that's why I want to go in and clean out. I noticed in this tank that I need to clean that out. So maybe every week or even more often, I'll siphon in the gravel so that I get the debris out. Sometimes I'll even put snails in there. And the snails, they can't get all the eggs, they won't get many, but they can help clean up some of the
So it's not like a Florida fish farm where it's a sterile thing, you only put the fish in for a couple days and then collect the spawn. This is a more permanent type thing.
I don't find that that always works when I expect the fish to spawn and they don't.
Yeah,
I say, well, give them a little time.
They have their own expectations. So you get them to hatch in here, and then you remove them and you put the fry in.
Once they're feeding, I like to either have them in a 2.5 gallon or a 10 gallon.
Oh, okay.
Or a 20 gallon.
Okay.
Because you have more bacteria, more of the little bugs in the tank.
Yeah, stuff.
And I put plants in there.
Tide them over between meals.
With that, and I do have a problem with it. I start feeding baby brine, fish are fine, and then Hydra come. And Hydra is going to come, I don't care if you use plants or even don't use plants, it's going to come. Hydra is going to come. So what I'll do, and I find that a lot of the tiny fry that really, I want to wait and make sure they're eating baby brine and up big enough, because those Hydra can take the real tiny fry.
Oh yeah.
But once they get a little bigger, and the Hydra doesn't bother, the fry aren't bothered by the Hydra. And so I like to have that working. So then I'll treat it with copper.
To take out the Hydra?
2 drops per gallon and that'll shrink they'll come back. But at least it'll give the baby fry a little chance to get
so the hydra will like suck in for a couple days to avoid the copper.
They'll die.
Oh, it'll actually kill them.
Some will survive. But it takes them a while to come back. By then, your fish are starting to get maybe on dry food, and so you do that right before you put the little fry in, so that. See, the hydra really love the baby brine. I mean, they just devour it, and so they reproduce. Really fast.
You get a population explosion.
You got to be careful. That's why I don't like to overfeed the baby brine. When you got a tank of fry, just put a little bit in, see what they eat. If they haven't got a full belly, put a little bit more in. Okay, so in here till free swimming, then we go into an aquarium, and these aquariums are they're a normal bioactive aquarium. They've got some plants, some gravel. This is your part is filtered. Like an undergravel filter stacked on this side? On just this side. Oh, to keep the gravel over? And when it gets, I can show you what I do. And is the other part bare just for ease of maintenance and so you can collect detritus and stuff more easily? And a lot of the debris, you can pick it up easier. Let me get... I see some babies in here, I thought. That's where I put some... there's some. Some Barbs. Oh yeah, those are the... But they didn't do too well in there. Well, there's a few in there. But this is a rake, I call it. Oh cool, it's like your sand... It really costs a lot of money. But anyway, what I do is I put it in the tank, and sometimes the snails and the fish will move that. Yeah, it's like a Japanese sand garden tool. So I just bring it up like that, That's cool. I love it. You wired two pieces of wood together. DIY right there. Those are lemon tetras, and those are cool fish too. Yeah. Oh, and those babies you're raising up? Yeah, cool. Yeah, they're a little bit more of a challenge to breed. Well, so these, you've got the, which species is it again? The Dawkinsia rohani. Dawkinsia rohani. Okay, and here, and you're growing up lemon tetras in there. These are the audax, Cracodon audax. Oh, okay, cool. So this is wild type livebearer here. Yeah, that's CPD. The CPD's growing up. Celestial pearl dang. Cool. So this one we just raked, so it's going to be a little cloudy. But let's see here. Let me find one. They tend to hang out on the bottom. Yeah, they like. Oh yeah, there they are by the plants there. Yeah. They like secrecy. Yeah. Those are some rohani. More of the rohani. Man, you've got those. That's awesome. I got over 1,000 eggs, and the female didn't even look skinny. That is awesome. So. Oh, cool. Some neons. And jelly beans? Jelly bean tetras, and I've never bred them. I've had them several times, and I'm hoping, I keep searching in that gravel, maybe they'll lay some eggs, but they haven't done it yet. Betta falx. And I know I've bred about 570 total, but yeah, I got a grandmaster in the tetras. 570 species? That's all? No. Oh, since 1985. Move over, Ted Judy and Michael Helwig. I've had a few years to work on them. So these are Betta falx you spawned? No, I did not spawn those. Those are some fry I'm raising to try to spawn them. They're a cool mouth brooder. I like that. Betta ferox down here. There's a pair of Betta ferox. Oh yeah, check those out. Betta ferox. And let's see what else. I don't think I've ever seen this in person before. That's cool. Quarries and stuff, but I don't, because I don't use the gravel filter, undergravel filter, because the quarries don't. It's not good for them. Cool. Now you said you use rainwater. What's your natural tap water come out at? Is it hard what stuff is or? Water, Chris?
I would say
7.5, 7.8.
Yeah, around 7.5.
Yeah.
And how hard is it? Do you get like the bathtub ring and all that, or is it fairly soft? It's not bad. It's from Lake Michigan. Oh, okay. So it's really not bad. Cool. This is the Polylepis, some fry from the Allodonictes polylepis. I have to confess, I don't know that fish. That's a live bearer? A rare Gadea. In fact, it's so rare it's extinct in the wild. Oh yeah, like so many of them. I like how you have marked, okay, we're at a gallon here, we're at 1.5 gallons here, so you know your ratios and stuff.
I use that once in a while. I'm trying to think of what else I got for you.
Well, these are pretty cool. These are Ultim Angels.
Yeah, those are.
I mean, that's a beautiful fish.
I'm just lucky to keep them alive, I think.
Well, most people can't, so that's step one. Where did you get them, and how are you keeping them alive?
We ordered them from Germany. Pete Gettner.
Oh, okay. So it's a good captive bred strain.
It's a good captive bred strain.
Yeah. You're not dealing with shaky imports. Yeah.
Yeah. They're nice fish.
Oh, these are gorgeous. I don't know if it's coming across on video, but just how erect the fins are and that beautiful blue on
them is nice.
Hopefully that's coming through. They're neat fish.
I can put the flashlight on them.
Yeah, that's just pretty. And they get such, when they're full grown, man, that's impressive.
These are the high HY 511 or the candy cane tetras.
Oh right, yeah.
They're a little tougher to breed, but I did get them to go.
What was your trick?
I think the fry are hard to raise. You can always get eggs out of them, but the fry are a little touchier. But those are breeding size right now. That's they call it candy cane or the white fin rosy tetra.
Then you've got a mop in here. I noticed some rainbows.
Well, there's 3 rainbows that I got at the GVAC swap meet, I think it was. Melitania Kali Rum, or Kali Rum.
Kali Rum.
And I don't know that much about them.
I don't know that fish either. Growing them out.
I'll see what they turn out to be down the road. I got some breeders down here. And
lemon tetras?
No, there's 2 barbs there that are the Maharaja barb. And I've lost my male, so I'm looking for another male. But
alright, Lonely Hearts Club searching for Maharaja barb, if anyone's got any for Chase here.
The Chopre Daniel is a pretty fish. That's as big as they get. Those are my breeders. And then I got the lemon tetra breeders in there.
Do you have to worry much about temperature with any of these fish? Because I know like some of the Danios like it cooler, and supposedly some Tetras like it warmer, but you just have this, what's this, mid-70s?
Yeah. Yeah, I have, these are higher 70s. Down there it's low 70s.
So the Ultims and Uaru and everything doing fine in the higher 70s.
Oh yeah.
See, people don't believe me on this, but I grew up in a time when we always kept fish in the 70s, and they did fine.
Yeah, it depends on a lot, but they seem to do better. The Uaru and the Ultims are more warmer water fish. Like
so they're in the upper tanks, so they're higher 70s.
Just keep my other stuff down here.
Yeah.
I've got the Mel Picta. There's a rainbow down there.
Oh yeah.
They get pretty good size.
Oh, do they?
Yeah,
okay.
Those are younger fish. And what else have I got?
Wow, that's a cool group of Picta right there. That's going to make Bentley Pascal, that's for you. It's going to make someone really jealous. Is it, how many species to your name? 500 plus, or was it more?
Total 570.
570 species bred.
This right here is, that's a SWAMUS award. I got a national award here. This is the one here.
Hidden behind the lamp?
Yeah, hidden behind the lamp.
So wasn't that generous of Chase to show us all his tips and tricks? Again, if you're into this stuff, go to his website, have a read, check it out, absorb everything this man has learned over the decades. And Chase, thank you so much for sharing this. Thanks for taking the time to let me geek out with you and show me your fish room and explain your methods. I learned a ton in the short amount of time we had together, and I look forward one day to hopefully seeing you again, man. Thanks. Anyway, everybody, hope you have a good one. Until next time, bye-bye.